Indonesia is located in Southeast Asia in between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. It is the largest country in Southeast Asia and the 14th largest in the world, measuring at 1.9 million square kilometers. It shares a border with three different countries. They are East Timor, Papua New Guinea, and Malaysia. From east to west, the country measures at 5,100 kilometers. And from north to south, the country measures at about 1,800 kilometers. Indonesia has 17,500 islands, and of those 17,500 islands, 7,000 are uninhabited permanently, and only 8,800 of those are named. The nation is divided also in different island groups like us here in the Philippines. They have four, namely Sumatra, Java, Kalimantan, and Sulawesi. The country has 34 provinces, wherein 5 of them are granted special administrative status. Those 34 provinces are Aceh, Bali, Bangka Belitung Islands, Banten, Bengkulu, Central Java, Central Kalimantan, Central Sulawesi, East Java, East Kalimantan, East Nusa Tenggara, Gorontalo, Jakarta, Jambi, Lampung, Maluku, North Kalimantan, North Maluku, North Sulawesi, North Sumatra, Papua, Riau Islands, South Sulawesi, South Kalimantan, South Sulawesi, South Sumatra, West Java, West Kalimantan, West Nusa Tenggara, West Papua, West Sulawesi, West Sumatra, and Yogyakarta. Again, 5 of those are granted special administrative status, and those 5 are Aceh, West Papua, Yogyakarta, and nation's capital, Jakarta. The nation is also part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, which makes it experience an average of 5.818 earthquakes annually and has some 100 known active volcanoes. The island of Borneo, or Kalimantan as it's named to the Indonesians, is one of the few triple border places in the world. It is divided amongst Brunei, Malaysia, and Indonesia. The Kalimantan Island also hosts Indonesia's longest river, which is the Kapuas River, which starts from the east and empties in the west. Papua, meanwhile, hosts the largest mountain of Indonesia, which is the Puncak Jaya. Meanwhile, Sumatra hosts the largest lake of Indonesia, which is Lake Toba.
The history of Indonesia began in the 7th century with 2 kingdoms, the Kingdom of Sriwijaya and the Kingdom of Mataram. The Kingdom of Sriwijaya originated on the island of Sumatra, where they controlled the Straits of Malacca. They held a trade route from India, China, and South Asia. In contrast, the Mataram Empire controlled the production of rice. They provide and trade food to Sriwijaya and other parts of Asia. These 2 kingdoms would lay the foundation later in the 13th century to become the biggest empire in Indonesia, the Great Kingdom of Majapahit. In the 13th century, Majapahit would rule with a golden age from 1293 to 1389, until it fell in the 16th century. The kingdom slowly declined due to most of the population converting from Hindu-Buddhism to Islam. After which, the Dutch colonized Indonesia for 350 years, fighting the rebellions and nationalists, then formally recognized Indonesian sovereignty in 1949. Today, Indonesia is led by the Indonesian Democratic Party, with Joko Widodo as its president. Indonesia's motto is Unity in Diversity. Because their country is an archipelago of 17,508 islands, each island has a different culture. That's because they learned about other cultures from India and China after hundreds of years due to trade and commerce. Because the Indonesians still remember the Majapahit Empire, they connect the kingdom with unity because they reflect the kingdom that united the whole archipelago of Indonesia. In the past, Indonesia was an empire of trade, religion, and commerce. Now, Indonesia is a country of diverse cultures.
The Indonesian government is a democratic presidential republic with the president serving as the country's head of state and government. Indonesia's current president is Joko Widodo. According to Indonesia Investments, elections are held every 5 years. Yet, Indonesia remains an imperfect democracy owing to corruption, nepotism, collusion, and money politics. As the president, which is Joko Widodo serving as the country's head of state and government, he has the authority to select who will work in his cabinet. His chosen cabinet members will form the executive branch and will work closely with him to ensure the smooth operation of the government on a daily basis. The other two government branches are the judicial branch and the legislative branch. The judicial branch includes the Supreme Court, which is the highest level of the judicial branch, whereas the legislative branch includes a legislature that is in charge of making and reviewing laws for the country. Lastly, Indonesia reverted back to the 1945 constitution after going through a reformation phase of being under a dictatorship led by Suharto in the year 1998.
With regards to other information about Indonesia, here are some unusual facts about Indonesia that not every person knows. First are the tourist-related facts. Jakarta, its capital, is the most Instagram city in Asia. The city is home to over 9 million people and offers an abundance of photographic material, which is clear when Instagram revealed that the city is the most geo-tagged location. Also, Indonesia has 9 World Heritage Sites for you to visit. Although there are 1,154 World Heritage Sites, there are 9 of them that you can visit in Indonesia, which composes of temples, national parks, tropical rainforest, coal mining site, early man site, and cultural landscape. Second are the volcanic facts. Indonesia is the hottest spot on the Pacific Ring of Fire, with Indonesia having roughly 130 active volcanoes and sitting between the most active seismic area on Earth. It is the hottest spot on the Ring of Fire. Indonesia also has the Lake Toba, which is the world's biggest natural volcanic lake and is located inside a supervolcano in northern Sumatra in Indonesia. The lake is simply enormous and has been measured to be roughly 500 meters deep, 100 kilometers long, and 30 kilometers wide. Third are the biology-related facts. Indonesia is a biodiversity hotspot and is home to many exotic and quite often endangered wildlife. Some of the many animals that can be found here include the Sumatran orangutan, Sumatran tiger, Sumatran rhinoceros, elephants, gibbons, and macacos. Also, Indonesia is the only place on Earth to observe the Komodo dragon in the wild. Lastly are the general facts. Indonesia had the first team to qualify for the FIFA World Cup in Southeast Asia. The team were called the Dutch East Indies, which only had players that were of Dutch ancestry. They played France in the year 1938, and although the club is now known as the Indonesia national team, they have not been in a World Cup since. Lastly, both flags of Indonesia and Monaco looks the same, but when observed carefully, you can see that there is a difference in size and the shade of red used in both flags. That is all, and thank you for listening.